Hey folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC. This is going to be the build, assembly. Well, there is some gluing, so we'll say build. The PC-6 Pilatus Porter sent to me by FPV Builds and Tech up in Lebanon, West Lebanon, New York. I just got that sitting on here. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, one thing you might want to make sure you do is when you take the fuselage out, the rudder servo lead, make sure that's dangling out. Don't get it caught, because off camera, I had the dickens of a time trying to get it fished back through there, okay? So just make sure they actually have it taped, but shipping and stuff will shake it loose. So just make sure that you've got your rudder servo lead hanging out, and the elevator servo lead is already hooked up to the control board, okay? The other thing is, before you put the wings on, I'm going to be using an AR-620. Okay, I've already got it hooked up. Everything from the control board is clearly labeled. The one that says ESC goes to your ESC port. The one that goes to flap goes to your flap port. So forth and so on. So everything's labeled, so you're going to hook that up. So actually putting the receiver in is pretty minor. Okay. However, if you're going to be using a receiver that's gyro, that's directional dependent, then you're going to have to pay attention to where you're going to put it in here. I'm not going to be doing that because the AR-620 doesn't matter. So what I would be doing, if I was going to be using a directionally concerning or orientation concerning receiver, I would mount it on the side. And there's a little cutout there. In fact, I'll probably just put my receiver. See where I've got it laying there, the AR-620. I'll just mount mine there. But that's where, like, say you had an AR-631 and you want to put forward program and all, that would be a good way, because you want to have it somewhere that's level and going backwards, or forwards to back of the plane. Not at a weird, strange angle. You're going to either have it flat, this way, or this way, not at any weird angle. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and use an AR-620. So that's what I'm going to do. Just remember about that rudder wire. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to worry about the main gear. Okay, now the main gear is a strut suspension type combination. Okay, you're going to want these little cutouts here in the front of the plane. You need to make sure that they correspond with the front part of the wheel. There's a little hole there. So in other words, where the hole is, that's going to go forward. What you're going to do, these little lock-in arms, pull them sideways, drop in your gear, okay, all right. Now, you've got these retainer plates. You got 3 of them, okay. So go ahead and take your third one, that would be, so you don't lose it. Go ahead, and they're all exactly the same. Put the little cutout, this top here, that's the locking section. Put that in towards up, because then this arm is going to turn onto that and lock that in place. Okay, that way you can easily take the gear off. Press that in there, turn the arm onto it. What I would do is take a tool, kind of press in on that plate to turn your arm over there. It's not wanting to. If you've got them in seated all the way, it should. We can cheat. What we'll do, make sure you got that like there. We're going to cheat. We're going to take a little Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to take that retaining arm. We're going to lift up on it, lock it in that cutout, okay, and then lock that in place. See, here's what it looks like before. Try to turn that onto that, and you don't turn. I lifted the screw up, turned that arm in, then locked it down. So so you see what that looks like now. Okay, it just makes it easier. Instead of trying to force that down there and bend in foam and everything, just back the screw up a little bit, turn the arm. Oh, there we go. Hey, that popped right in there now. Probably didn't have to do that now. See, that gear is now on there. Okay, now you're going to take these suspension wires. Let me get you a little bit closer. A little closer, so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, all right. You got that in there like that. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, turn the model on the side, and you're going to put. You only go on here one way. This flat side, the beefier side, the thicker side is going towards the wheel, and then this is going to screw in there, just like that. And they give you everything you need. Let's go ahead and hook up the wheel. You're going to take the bigger, the thicker of the two. We got 4 black screws. Okay. Let me just show it to you real quick. You got 4 black screws. Okay. 2 that are thinner and 2 that are beefier and thicker. Take your beefier, thicker ones. They're magnetic, so that's good. And you got your thicker Allen wrench that comes with it. Okay. You're going to take the angled part that corresponds with your wheel here. Run that through. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Okay. And then that's going to feed in. See what I'm doing there? And that's a metal screw going into a metal housing. So feel free to use Loctite on there if you wanted to. Just be very careful. How I wouldn't, to be honest, I would just use a little bit of CA if you wanted to, or maybe a little bit of foam tack. Something to gum up the threads so they don't back out, because you've got that big plastic piece there. And lockout or Loctite always weakens. Will always weaken plastic. Okay, we'll go ahead and do the other side. Okay, we'll put the screw through there. Put my Allen wrench in there, like that. I'm going to attempt to use everything. They provide everything you need except for the glue. They don't give you the glue. I wish these were made of metal, but you know what? Hey, I don't think this is going to be that much pressure. This is a very lightweight model. Okay, I'll anchor that down in a minute. But you see how that's going to go? Okay, now you're going to grab your other smaller tool and the 2 other smaller screws and see where I'm putting them. It's got the, line that up in there. Hey, you know what? I'll use my one. I bet you this is the same. And it is. That's a lot quicker, isn't it, than using a little Allen wrench? Okay, now that gives you a little bit of traction. All right. Now that, to let you know what size, that's a 1.5 millimeter hex drive. Okay, same thing, or all right, push that, just push your suspension down, run that through there. Okay. Yeah, that gives and that is the basic assembly of the wheel. All right, now turn our attention to tail feathers. All right, now this is why you're going to appreciate All right, make sure that's there, because they're going to have to fishing that back through was a pain in the rear. Okay, I'm going to take our elevator. Let me back you up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take our elevator. Tongue and grooves in there, only goes in there one way. Make sure you got the red decals are up. Okay. This is going to be fishing down in there. This rod does not go through that hole. It goes through this little hole up here. Okay. Let me just show you real quick. You can't really see it that well. There's a very small hole right there. You can kind of see it with my finger. That's where it's going through. The main retaining bolt goes through there. But you're going to have a very small hole that rod is going through. That's a tiller arm for your rudder or your tail wheel. If you put floats on it, you put that'd be for your rudder. There is a float kit available. Now, this is why you'll make sure you didn't lose. You're going to be hooking these two things up. Okay, you're going to be hooking your rudder up. Okay. Make sure you always, your polarity is always going to be light to light, dark to dark. Okay. So, got the white wire here. There's a, I don't, you can barely see it. See, there's a white wire. Part of that is white. You may not be able to see it, but just trust me, one section is white. That's the signal side. You're going to line that up to your servo, which you fish through in case you dropped it. It's going to click in. Then I love using these little retainer clips. Okay, they're just peace of mind. They're real cheap. You can get like $8. You can get like 100 or like 50 of them, and put that on there. Then I never have to worry about that coming loose. So I'm going to reach in there and I'm going to grab my rudder servo, which is hooked into that control board. Well, kind of pull up that extra slack. But before I do that, this is going to be glued in. Okay? So since it's going to be glued in, anytime you're going to be gluing foam to foam, okay, you want to score the foam. Okay? That's just me. I'm going to put a couple little slashes in there. Okay. And then on this, a couple little slashes. Just to give more surface area for the glue to adhere to. And this is good old fashioned Chinese glue. Best glue ever. Don't be, you don't have to go crazy with it, but you don't want to be too chinchy either. I mean, this is going to hold your rudder on. So, okay. Make sure that goes. Pull that thing tight. Make sure that goes through that hole there. Yep. Okay, then I'm going to just let all that sandwich on in there. It's not wanting to. You know what? That just. Oh wow! I don't have to worry about that. That will sit. Make sure it lines up though. Want it to come out that hole there. Meanwhile, I'm making this huge mess. Okay, this guy's coming out now. That's just really sitting in there tight. It's just very tight. That's all that is. That's fine. That's actually a good thing. A tight fitting model 99% of the time makes for a good flying model. You just take your finger. That stuff dries nice and clear. So just remember, it will pull paint off if it gets too sticky, too gummy. All right. But I thought I had to have that on there first, but I don't. I don't have to have the elevator on there first because it has that cutout there. So that's just going to slide right in there. And then the whole thing bolts in. But you know what? Just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to run a little bit of glue. I'm going to make sure I'm not getting on that tiller arm. I'm just going to put just a touch of glue. You don't have to do this. This is optional. This is just me. My own OCD. Staying away from that tiller arm. Just don't want that to, make sure it's good and solid in there. Okay. Yeah. All right. See what that looks like? It's all done. All right. Now that's is in there. So let's turn it over. We'll be needing glue again for glue on some antennas and peripherals. Okay, so let me get you in a good position here. Sorry, a lot of glare in here. It's just how I got the lighting system in here. All right. Now this is kind of a cool design here. This is like a 4-part design. All right. Got that pin, right? All right. Now what you're going to do, you're going to take this little retaining collar, okay? You're going to take that small Allen wrench that they gave you, okay? And what you're going to do is it's going to go to the top of this wire, okay? You're also going to have this rod here, okay? This is going to bolt on the bottom of the shaft. Make sure these are just steering arms, control arms. There's a little grub screw in there. Take your little Allen wrench, open that up, make sure you don't see the screw poking through. Okay. Let's slide this through here. Oh, hold on, I did it wrong. Make sure you put where you have access to the screw this way and then facing this way. That way it's easier for you to get a hold of it, to manipulate it. Okay, put that in there like that. I guess this would have been better to leave the elevator off for this step, but first time putting this kind of model together. It's actually a pretty slick little system here. Okay. Put this arm, I'm going to slide that in up on there. I don't have the grub screw out far enough. This is just to keep this from moving around and keep it, and it'll stay in place. Yeah, it would have been easier to do this without the elevator on, but I'm so used to putting these models together. I'm used to putting the elevator on next. Okay. Don't anchor that tiller arm in yet. Okay, I'm going to have to look at this for just a second. Let me pause for just a moment. Okay, I just had to fight with it just a little bit and get that pop down in there. Okay. Biggest thing is that you just tighten that down to where that shaft can't come back out. All right, now you're going to want to line both of these. Take your other control arm here, okay? It's going to go on there. Go ahead and hook that up to that, that up to that, okay? So now you can appreciate why put these screws in here, these grub screws. You know what, I'm going to use my tool just as the same size, just to make my life easier, or try to anyways, if I can get it in there. Okay. Now, if you go in there and you find that it's not straight, then you can always adjust, come back and adjust it. All right, that's, you gotta start to move the rudder. All right, now I'm going to eyeball this, and hopefully, and what it is, you see if you look right down the line, this is another trick for putting these planes together, all planes. See that blue line? If you'll line up your wheel, your tail wheel, if you're making adjustable, or your nose wheel, whatever you've got, if you line that up to where it goes right down the center of the fuse, then that's the linear spot. See? You should be going straight then. When you get all said and done, see how that looks? Okay, she should roll straight. If not, loosen this up with that same screw or that little thing, and then just straighten your wheel out. Not hard at all to do. All right, so now we're going to go ahead. I know this is a big assumption here. I'm going to go ahead and assume that these servos are centered. They were on the Bristol. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hook up my elevator. I don't normally do this. I'm going to go ahead and hook up my elevator. I'm going to go to the outermost hole, fish that in, okay, and then I'm going to go to the middle hole. The middle hole, because that's going to give me my kind of a mid-range control. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I get busy building and I don't pay attention. Can you see what it is I'm doing? Okay. All right. See, and that's basically perfect. It's almost perfect. All right. So let's go ahead, and I can always adjust that once I bind up the radio. Okay. I can always adjust it. Okay. Lock that in place. Okay. And slide that. I'm going to leave the retaining clip off of there for now, because I may have to adjust it. But you can see that looks like that's pretty level, but we'll know once we get it bound up. Okay, so now we have the fuselage with the front gear and the rear gear and the tail feathers all hooked up. Okay, so time to put the wings on. Now, this is why you're putting the wings over where you put your radio. So therefore, that's why I want to go ahead and add your receiver now. So let's go ahead and pause. The radio part of the video will be, let's pause for just a minute. The radio part of the video will be a different video. I'm going to go ahead and bind it to my receiver, but all I'm doing is just hitting that bind button on the receiver, and that way I've got communication between the receiver and the transmitter. Not doing any settings or any kind of setup, just where the plane and the transmitter talk to each other. All right, so we'll be right back. Finish the build. All right, continuing on. Now that I've got my receiver bound in there and the plane talks to the transmitter, we can finish the build. Now I want to show you one thing I forgot to do. I just haven't got to it yet. is you still have to put in that big retaining bolt. Now remember, you got these 3 really big bolts, okay? And this great big honking bolt, man, is just going to honk, is just going down. They don't give you a tool for that. Let me go find a tool real quick for that. Hold on. All right, they don't give you a tool for this, but you're going to need a 5mm, show up on the video yet or not. Yeah, this is 5.0. It's a big old square hex drive. Fits in that bolt. Okay, so I'm not real crazy about that. I wish this would hang out further and grab your hands around, because if that's supposed to be a hand tight deal, no, that's not going to work. All right. But that great big bolt, I guess, because it holds everything together. It locks in the rudder, it locks in the, no, it doesn't lock in, it locks in the entire elevator. So, you start seeing your elevator turn like that just a little bit, that's good enough. Okay. All right. I can go ahead and slide on that fuel tubing, because my rudder is, or my elevator is centered. That's like really hard to do. But that fuel tubing is a huge, don't ever cut it off. Always use that fuel tubing to slide up over your clevises. That's just a little extra piece of insurance to ensure that your connection to whatever the control surface is doesn't come undone. But I have slid it down. It's just wanting to be aggravating. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, now we can turn our attention to the wings. Wings are actually pretty simple, in as far as this part goes. Okay, you know what? We don't even need this plane stand now. Okay. We need the glue, though. We're going to need the glue. All right. Get you over here. With your wings, you're going to grab your big old wing spar, where I've hid that great big thick wing spar. Okay. I'm going to slide them in, slide it in. It should have, it has a definite stopping point. Make sure your ribbon's hanging down below. Okay. Slide the other one in. Slide your wings together. Okay. So make sure the ribbons are down below. So you got those two cutouts here in the front of the wing. Okay. Then grab your big retaining plate, which is, even says KAVAN or KAVAN on, or KAVAN on. I was going to say KAVAN. And it fits, I'm going to say, should be like this. That way, you know, KAVAN Pilatus. Okay. Let those ribbons hang down in there. There's two, that kind of holds together by pressure. But there's two holes there. The front of that wing is going to fish down in there. And if you look, see those two white ports on either side? That's where those pins, those ribbons, control ribbons, are going to hook into. Okay, they give you plenty, and they have, they're keyed. They have little teeth on them. They only go one way, and the teeth go to the out. The teeth go this way, and the teeth go this way. So, see those teeth on there, those little channels on top there? They're going to go to the outside. So this is going to be interesting how to do this. Yep, see, this is why you definitely, and this is supposed to be a quick connect type thing, but if you've got big old honking fingers like I do, alright, there's that one. And this one I'm going to have to feel for. I mean, once you do it, 200 or 300 times, it's not going to be that bad. Ha. Alright, so that is seated in there. That one's seated in there. I'm going to key, making sure them ribbons stay dangled down in there, don't get locked in. Key that in there and set that down. Now you're going to take these great big honking screws, which, I'm sorry, I think this is this is overkill. But, hey, you're going to lock these suckers in. I'm going to put it on its wheel here. Oh, that's what it is. Alright. And whenever you see the foam start to dent in there, don't go any further. It has a definite bottoming out point. Yeah, when you start seeing the foam start to dent in around this plate, then you're there. And the nice thing about that is because what that'll do is that foam will expand a little bit and kind of lock that in, kind of keep it from going anywhere. But we're not done yet. Now we've got these retaining struts, or these wing struts to worry about. For that, I am going to use the plane stand. We need our glue. Okay. And you're going to need this little baggie of cotter pins. I'll show them to you in just a minute as soon as I get it. This is that one-man show deal here. So, Camera Precious films flights for me, but she doesn't film these for me. Mainly because her back can't stand to stay here for that long. Okay, these are not keyed in any certain way. This is like right or left. However, if you look, the attachment point is towards the front. Always drop everything. Make sure you drop everything at least once. Is towards the front. So I'm going to assume that I'm going to put the front side in here. Okay. Now those cotter pins I was talking about, you get 1, 2, 3. Looks like you get one extra. Okay. That's what they look like. Trying to get that to focus where you can see it. Cotter pins. Okay. Now, these are a little tedious. You need to put them in such a way to where you can grab a hold of the teardrop end and shove them in. You're going through 4 areas. The two holes that are actually on the structure itself, and then the 2 holes in the pin. So we're actually in the strut. So line that up, get that on there, and this is you might have to fight with this a little bit. It's like anything else. Let me see how it goes in without that through. Okay, that goes through there no problem. So let me fish it through the heavier end. Okay, that goes through there. So it's just a matter of just having to force it in there. Okay, I'll show you one once I get one hooked up. Let's try this one here first. Okay. All right, one thing you can do with these I use these cotter pins all the time. Something that you can do to make them a little bit easier. They're still going to be, take a pair of pliers and kind of bend them out just a little bit. Okay, they're still going to have plenty of grab. Yeah, and if you're worried about it, take a pair of pliers, bend them back. Okay. That's just my battery. I'll grab my pliers there. Okay. I'll grab part of that and just kind of pull it out just a touch, just to relieve a little bit of that tension to where it'll slide through there a little bit easier, making my life a little easier. This one, I think I am going to go in towards the tail and all the connections. That way when I grab the plane, I'm not going to, if I grab at that point, yeah, see that? That went through there so much easier. Okay. Now, it's also going to make pulling them out a little bit easier. So let's make sure that's bent back. As I made it easier for myself to get in, I don't want it to come undone either. All right, that's in there. Now, show you what that looks like when it's done. Okay, so that pins through there. That pins through there. Okay. I'll repeat the same process this side. Okay. So you do get an extra pin. Let me see if I can get this to go through here without having to bend that out. But I know I won't. I know I won't be able to. I just won't bend it out as far. Okay. Huh. You know what? Goes in better if I have it. Let me take this one and put it towards the down. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. Put that through there. Hey, I didn't have to bend that one. All right. All right. So that's that. Now, let's put our peripherals. I'm going to put the prop on just to show you, but there's no battery in the plane. Okay. Let's go ahead and put our peripherals. Okay, you've got 3 glue-in peripherals. Okay. This one, and then these things here. I don't know what they are. Make sure you drop it. You gotta drop everything at least once. Let me look and see where. Sometimes you look at the picture, see where they go. Okay, one goes. Okay, that's where they go. They go on top. All right. These are like big antennas. They go here and here. Since this is a top feeder, and look, the paint's already chipping off the front of that. Okay, this one, all 3 of these are going to glue in just as soon as I find my glue. I just had it. It was just here. Don't you hate that? All right, there it is. That's because it fell on the ground. All right, now, this one, this blue one, is going to fit through the tail, through the top of the rudder. Okay. There's a hole there. It's just going to fit through there like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the glue top on the bottom. Fish it through there that one time. Okay. Give it as even on both sides as I can get it, and leave that alone. These here, just going to put a little glue on either side. Drop that in. Drop that in. Best Chinese, best glue than ever. Chinese glue. All right. Then back over here, we're going to grab our prop. Okay. Find that screw that was just sitting right there. It is. Okay. Now you have a little Phillips head screw that goes in the front of the prop that secures it to the front of the prop adapter. Okay. There's no battery in here, so I'm not in any danger by putting this prop on now. Okay. That beeping you hear is the battery charged. Okay. Put the prop on where the flat is angled towards you. Okay. Put the backing plate in front of the prop. Okay. Put the nut on there. Say I got no battery in the plane. Put that. Okay, that's on there. One more time. Okay, that's on there. Put prop adapter or spinner on there, and that is not metal, but it sure feels like it's metal. It's not. It's plastic. And that should screw in the very front of that motor, or that front of that prop adapter. Yep, there it is. Find my Phillips head screwdriver there. Alright, don't ever over tighten that because it's got a plastic backing. You'll screw right through that and the prop adapter won't go on. So just get it nice and snug and tight, and that's all you got to do. Alright, and that concludes the basic build of the KAVAN Pilatus PC-6 Porter. Alright folks, well thank you for watching. That is the plane. The next video will be the rates, will be radio rates in CG. I'll be using an AR-620 antenna-less receiver, which I've already bound up so that, because you saw how once you put the wing on, it's kind of a pain in the butt to take off. There you go. All right, well, thank you for watching. God bless y'all. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends. God is good. And KAVAN Pilatus Porters by FPV Builds and Tech up in West Babylon, New York. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.